Hey, happy Thursday from Real Stuff Real Change Services. Hope you're doing well this evening. I'm out here on my back porch. You see behind me, we got a little woods, a little built up campfire there that we built up with the stones for people to come over. This is a great night out tonight here in the Shenandoah Valley. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Hope you're safe. Appreciate you tuning into our video tonight. Wanted to talk a little bit about what it means to live in distorted thinking. And when I think about distorted thinking, this is a very broad, very big area because it can pretty much include anything that we think about in a distorted way. For example, it can be something as simple as feeling bad about, a bad look you gave somebody, to as big as thinking that the end of the world is coming and you really don't have any clue what to do with your life in that moment. And both of those are distorted, right? Both of those have dysfunctional thought processes behind them. One is bigger than the other, however, they're both distorted. They both are included in the distorted family of thinking. And so distorted thinking has a lot of different phrases or statements you can use. You can use negative emotions, negative thoughts. You can use distorted thoughts. You can use perceived thoughts. You can use judgment on yourself. You can call it assumptive thoughts. Whatever you want to call it, it's still the same thing. It's still distortion, dysfunction, bad thinking, bad energy, whatever you want to call it. It's things that we do to ourselves that create blocks in us being okay with who we are. And so what do I mean by distorted thinking? Well, we're here in the woods. There's woods in the back here, and there's lots of trees back here, and there's lots of animals, and there's lots of bugs, and there's lots of things like that. Bugs, you can think of a distorted thought as like bugs that they're crawling on you, or ants that are, building things, that they pile up, right? They get bigger and bigger. Sometimes they start in small little groups, and then they move into bigger groups, and before you know it, there's a community of it. And we can think like that. We can create those types of thought cities, communities, towns in our own brain. And the funny thing about our brain is it's either going to really help us or it's really going to hurt us. And so the brain is so powerful, it can be powerfully positive or it can be powerfully distorted. And the scary part about that is if you don't change the distorted thinking, you're going to really have a crummy life if you keep thinking like that. But the beautiful part about that is if you take time to learn about those distorted thinking thoughts, you take time to identify them and to, become aware of them when they come and they settle in town, you'll be able to have the opportunity to make the changes that you've always wanted to make and create, the cleanliness in your brain and your thinking that you've always wanted to have. Now, I don't know about you, but for years and years, I suffered with distorted thinking. For years. Now, I'm 47. I know I don't look 47. I know I look younger. So, thank you. I'm just kidding. But I do. I'm 47. And so for probably about 43 to 44 years of my life, I spent a considerable amount of time building these negative communities in my heart and my mind. And let me explain to you what I mean. So growing up, I was a hard worker. I was a very hard worker. I worked extremely hard. I was brought up to work hard. I'm thankful my parents had work ethic. Both my parents are extremely hard workers. They did a ton for me, put up with a ton of stuff for me, and I mean a ton of stuff. And I won't go into detail about that right now. But they really were there to set an example of hard work. And their intention was not to hurt me or to harm me, but their intention was to set me up for success and to give me a foundation that said, hey, if you work hard, you can go places. If you work hard, you can get what you need. If you work hard, you can succeed. And while a lot of that is true, we need to work hard and to be effort based, and we need to have, stamina to work hard and work ethic, and we need to be available to ourselves to do that. However, over time, that became so important to me that I started to distort my thinking. And what I mean by that is I started to put all of my eggs in the basket of hard work, all of my money or investment of myself into hard work. And when things didn't go well, or when things took a turn for the worse, or they went a different direction, I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. And so what I did was I just went ahead and put my boots on, and I got in the mud where I was stuck, and I kept going. And if you can relate to me, you'll shake your head yes at this point. And as I kept going, my tires started to get balder and balder in my life. I started to run out of gas. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And yes, I became a Christian, but yet even as a Christian, I worked harder. I worked harder than anybody else in the ministry. I was quicker than the next guy. I was going to beat the next guy because it was all about being the best for me. And after a while, this came to an end. I was miserable. I was in bad shape. I was overweight. I had my allergies were out of control. I was rude. I was irritable. I was mean, and I tried with every piece of my mind to not think distortion. But every time I turned around, there was another distorted thought ready to jump into the community, ready to move in next door to the other distorted thoughts that were already building a neighborhood in my brain. So why am I sharing all of this distortion with you, all of these negative things? Because it's really important. Now, hear what I say here. It's really important for you to be able to identify what those negative perceptions are specifically. And they're going to be different for you as they are for me. They're going to be different for people of different cultures and backgrounds and family dynamics, because what you dealt with, I haven't dealt with. And what I've dealt with, maybe you haven't dealt with. We may have some little specifics that are the same, but if you came from a family of a single parent and I came from one with two parents, that's right there, there's a difference. If I come from one where dad works and mom stays home, and you come from one where mom and dad both go to work, that's another difference. If you have 6 siblings and I have 1, that's a difference. It's even different if you have dogs, or you have pets, or you live on a farm, or a city, or you live in a country, or you're in a rural area, or you're in a city. Every little thing makes a difference. And so what distorts your thinking may not distort mine, but the bottom line is we're both distorted. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, I started on the road less traveled. And what I mean by that is I was given a challenge by a friend of mine who I worked with in the full-time ministry to really take time to find out who I was. I didn't know who I was. I knew I was, Ryan Grubb. I knew I worked hard. But other than that, I didn't really know who I was. And I wanted to find out who I was before it was too late. I wanted to have a life that I could actually like. I wanted to have a family that was healthy and was aware and perceived things in a positive light. And so from that point on, I began on a path of major emotional healing. And because I became associated correctly with the things that were negatively affecting me internally, it became possible for me to make those adjustments. And today I'm still making those adjustments. I'll never stop making the adjustments mentally that can help me be emotionally, spiritually, and physically healthy and healed. But in order to make that first step, I had to be able to be in touch with what I was assuming or perceiving that was representing my thought processes. Everything from my belief systems to the way that I looked at the world around me, to how I responded to people that weren't like me, to how I treated my wife and my kids, to more importantly, how I treated myself, and then God in the process. And over time, I've been able to really identify these distorted feelings. And now, even today, when they pop up, I am quick to be able to identify and deal rather than allowing them to build neighborhoods and city communities inside of my thinking that used to block progress of positive associative healing in my mind. And so, what is keeping you from changing today? What distortions, what thought processes, belief systems, decision making, cultural barriers, what people think of you, your subjugated mindset, which means that you listen to what everybody else says and then you feel bad later, your aggressiveness, your short-temperedness, what is it that causes you to doubt who you are? It's important for you to find out what that is in order for you to be able to free yourselves to begin a new process in your life. Today, I am still hard at it, working internally to make myself really see the real me. I'm making changes through affirmational exercises, through guided imagery using imagination and positive associations and other tools to really help me define positive thought processes. But the bottom line is, if we don't stop the pedals, stop the cycle, get out of the car and smell the roses, we will not find out what it is that really distorts our thinking. This is a really challenging thing for people to do. Most people will never take the time to stop and smell what is making them distorted in order to smell good with positive associations. So I want to challenge you to go and find out what is building the negative communities in your thinking processes. And when you find those things, write them down. Write them down and start an opposite page on what you would like them to be. If you are hopeless, write down hopeful. If you are doubtful, write down faithful. If you are sad, write down glad and happy. If you are anxious, write down calmness. And practice this exercise. Finding out what it is the biggest and most important commodity of this process. Because if you don't, you will try to rah-rah your way to being healthy and happy. And I can tell you this, my friend, I've done that. I got the t-shirt, I got the sweatshirt, I got the bracelet, I got it all. I even got a trophy in my room for the rah-rah of trying. It doesn't work. Take it from me, it doesn't work. So, hey, that's all I got today. Positive and negative distortions. How do you think? And finding out why you think the way you do is the first step to your healing. So, hey, this is Real Stuff, Real Change Services. I hope you have a great weekend coming up. Whatever you'll be doing, hope you're outside. If it's nice outside, I hope you can spend quality time with family and friends. This is the only time we have, and you love the people that you're near. Trust me, I'm learning every single day to love those that are closest to me more and more without judgment. So with that, hey, if you have any desire to find out more about what we're doing, we have lots of little services we do. We have one-on-one services, we have coaching, we have sessions on working on memories and helping you to change the way you think. We also have group collaboration services. You can go to realstuffrealchange.com. You can find out more about that. Or you can catch me on our Facebook page and feel free to reach out, find out more. And we'll talk to you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful June weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.